Yes, we've got to need one another. We've got to need one another all the world over. Sister and brother, have faith in one another now. And we've got to need, we've got to help. We've got to
Star Trek will not be presented tonight, so that we may bring you the following special program.
Now, a special program in living color on NBC.
From beautiful downtown Sacramento, it's time for Beach Blanket Fort Bingo.
Beach blanket fort bingo. Beach blanket, fort bingo, fort bingo. Spouse has got a show when you really wanna know what's going on. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Beach blanket, fort bingo, fort bingo. Got music on the do and your favorite comics too. Grab a spot and settle in, 'cause it's high time we begin. Beach blanket fort bingo podcast. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hello and welcome to Beach Blanket Fort Bingo. I am your host, Steve Schnee. Before I introduce our very special guest, I'd like to introduce my co-host. He's the man behind the low rumble that fueled alt rockers, the Muffs, and helped them become the iconic rockers that they will always remain. He's a fan of fried chicken livers, but don't ever put a baked potato on his dinner plate, or you will realize why we call him Hurricane Ron. Ladies and gentlemen, Ronnie Barnett.
Hey, Steve. Thank you. Thank you. It's almost all true. Depends what's on that baked potato. That's all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, our very special guest is Cal Everett, a gentleman I've wanted to interview for 46 years, and he's managed to successfully avoid it until today. He came to prominence in 1980 as a member of 4 out of 5 Doctors, the best thing to come out of Washington, D.C. since George Washington and D.C. Comics. His talents were recently recognized by a modern audience when he joined power pop trio, the Airport 77s, for their 2025 album, Don't Let Go, which has now led to his debut solo album, The Weight of Early Promise, which is one of the best albums of the last decade. If you thought that 4 out of 5 Doctors was a pop-making machine, then prepare yourself to be blown away by Cal's solo masterpiece. It is called The Weight of Early Promise. Please join Ronnie and I in welcoming him to the show. Welcome to the Blanket Fort, Cal.
Thanks, fellas. Good to be here.
Before we dig into your career, how does it feel to know that you've not only released one of the best albums of the year, but it is most certainly one of the best albums of the decade, if not longer?
One thing I've always had trouble doing, many live shows that I've done, especially when I go solo work, is I hate having to live up to introductions. So now you've just really thrown the gauntlet down. So I want to make sure I don't step in anything here as we proceed. Well, for me, it feels fantastic because it's something that it wasn't a conscious project when I started it. It became a conscious project when I realized I had all of the pieces and then met the right guy, Todd Wright, to produce it for me 10 years ago. And we began working on it. And I met this genius of a guy who just got it. He got what I was trying to do. He understood the obvious, let's call it challenges to me, yeah, that's right, as old as I am. And and having to promote the thing, and candidly, that's how I wanted to promote it. Was I wanted to tell people it took me 40 years to curate this music, to write it over the time, and it took me 10 years to record it because that's what it needed to take. So I feel really good about it. It's a real relief, and the support that I've gotten, Steve, from you and that masterful trailer you did, I still watch it going, how's the guy do this overnight? I don't get it. And just some of the other, unsolicited love I've gotten from so many different sources. I had no idea outside of shows like yours. I really had no idea that there was this pop, I won't even call it an underground, but this pop music network throughout the world that
Hmm.
all to plug into just people under the radar. So that's been ridiculously good news for me.
Now, the Weight of Early Promise is an album that manages to combine the best elements of early '70s pop masters like Paul McCartney, Emmett Rhodes, Todd Rundgren, yet it manages to sound remarkably fresh and timeless. Did the album, like when you first started recording the album 10 years ago, was the end result what you had imagined?
Yes, yes, it was, and that's possibly why. If you ask the two fellas, Ethan Mentzer, who was the engineer on the job, and Todd Wright, the producer. Ethan Mentzer, um, out of Philadelphia, actually is with the Click Five. That was his band, and he's
Hmm.
touring with them again right now. So when Todd and Ethan, the three of us, kind of got together on this project, they knew. Let's just say I have somewhat of a in the recording studio. I have a notoriety for what they call kitchen sink production.
Hmm.
If it sounds good in there, I'm putting it in.
Hmm.
So, but I agreed with them at the beginning. Said, but I need you fellas to do is save me from myself. You curate, you put in there or take out, the things that might make it sound less today. And as it turns out, about three, four songs in, they just said, "We're leaving everything you got in there," and they just. But their modern sensibilities, their recording acumen, the equipment, the outboard gear, everything that they had at their disposal because they're in the business, this is what they do,
Hmm.
is what took everything that we had that could have been written in 1975 and made it sound like, no, it might have been written in 1995 or 2005 or 2015. And as it turns out, songs were written over the 4 decades. So
Yeah, I think it's very obvious that, I mean, this album, I, without trying to sound overly dramatic, it belongs to the ages. It has, there's, there's nothing on this. I mean, it's a very modern sounding album, but there's nothing on this that says it could only have been released today. You know, it
right.
feels so rooted in what makes pop music magical. Now, obviously, from what I can tell, you've been taken aback by the reaction. But was it something that you sort of, when you were making it to see what other people thought? Or was this kind of more about as long as I'm happy with it and as long as it says what I want to say, then I'm going to release it?
It's honestly, it's both. I mean, I knew that all these songs, as I wrote them through the years, some of these I wrote when I was at the tail end of the Doctors. There's three songs on the record that I was writing when the Doctors were.
Hmm.
Um, but I knew at the time I was writing them, these were never going to be Doctors songs. They weren't. They were different. They were a different animal. They were too introspective, too self-aware, not quirky enough, not fun. Um, in a way.
Hmm.
And that continued over the decades because I was in a band that put some kind of recorded material out in the 90s, in the 2000s, and then with the A77s, lastly here in the 220s. Um, and I wrote songs during all of those bands. These are for you, but I kept writing things that were not for them that I knew. And it was probably about the time I got to One Stop, which was the group I was with in the 2000s, that I quickly realized all of these songs that I just been playing by myself in my room or whenever I just wanted to warm up, Africa, and all these songs I've been playing for decades, they were telling a story, and I became aware of the story now and what it was going to be about. So yes, part of me wanted to do this just for me because I knew there had to be a reason or an end to the silliness of having all these songs that I
Hmm.
wasn't doing anything with. But then again, I mean, you're not complete. You don't feel complete as an artist or until you get a reaction. I mean, that's the idea, right? It's like, what do you think? You know, what do
Yeah.
you think?
Right.
You're Van Gogh. You don't paint your bathroom and call it a day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can't go, but you know what I'm saying? You do want public, you want, what's the word I'm looking for? Validation.
This record is real refreshing though, because it's like a complete work. I mean, it's really well thought out, and like in this day and age where people release like singles all the time, and I mean,
I knew I definitely did not want it to be that. I set out going, I want this to be what happened. I want it to be a concept record because nobody was really doing those since, the 60s, really.
Mhm.
I wanted it to be that way. I wanted it to have ebbs and flows, and I wanted it to have those choral interludes, the string quartets and stuff, to give people time to breathe, cleanse your palate, reflect on what you just heard, and think about what you might be hearing next. And that's why I interjected all of those along the way.
Yeah.
And I think just it kind of dovetails nicely on both of your observations. Is recently I've gotten some really neat emails and stuff. One from a fellow in Australia, another from a guy in Canada, and another guy from a fellow in the UK. And they all mentioned to me their ages, like how old they were. They were 60, 65 years old, and they're big pop fanatics. And they just, they, like you said, that this really spoke to them on some level. And I said, yeah, that was another kind of quiet goal I had. Was I always felt that as people age in pop music, it leaves you behind. Nobody writes anything for you as you get older, even though, that's your bag. That's what you like. That's what I love. There have been very few exceptions to that. Fountains of Wayne was one of them. They were a youngish band, but I related to almost everything they wrote. And I just thought that's kind of a shame. And I think what I've done, it's hitting home to people of my generation, of our generation, and I'm probably older than both of you by 5-6 minutes. But
he's older than me. So.
Yeah. Ronnie's still in his 50s, I think.
I wanted to relate to people that are my age. I didn't want to try to write for Taylor Swift's audience. It just wasn't going to work.
Well, see, here's the thing about this record is that it really connects on a personal level, and of course, me being sort of the age that you're talking about. When you hear somebody 65 years old or 60 years old and they're recording an album, they're sometimes sticking to what they were doing 40 years ago, and it sounds awkward. It sounds like they're still singing to 16-year-olds or to 20-year-olds. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean like, they started out singing to young people. But this album, I think emotionally, it doesn't matter if you're 20 or if you're 62, 63, you are going to be able to connect with this because it's steeped in reality, and it's steeped, and that's really, I think,
brutal. I mean, it was difficult in a way to do the record because it is so, hard on the sleeve approach. I mean, it's very honest. It's very candid. There were some, I try to make it as pop friendly. I mean, I've been criticized over the years of writing incredibly hummable tunes that are depressing as hell. So people say, hey, they walk away humming the chorus, then they start singing the lyrics. Go, what the hell is he talking about? Like, but they can't get the melody out of their head. So that's the hook. That's the hook for me.
I don't know what I'm after. Somebody said it's like laughter. You lose it the minute you catch 'em, or they ain't you. You're
I'm assuming that the title of the album refers to the early beginnings with the now iconic band 4 to 5 Doctors and all the goodwill and great press you received during those early days. In fact, I know that the song Help Is on the Way was an early recording
Yep.
by the Doctors. And you said there's a couple others. Did they end up on Post Op? Because
Post-op, I think, does have it has the earliest stab at Never Go to Africa. It's
okay,
got Help Is on the Way and Communication. I think there's a really very odd version of Communication on
yeah,
there.
okay, there you go. Yeah,
Yeah. So yeah, those that, like I said, we were already all but broken up, and Jeff had a job in a recording studio, so he kind of said, everybody just come on in and bring whatever you got, which is funny and ironic in a way because that's how we started out when the three of us, George and Jeff and I, being primary songwriters in the band, first got together. We were just bringing what we were writing, and it couldn't have been more different. I mean, we were
hmm
all over the map. So
hmm
it was kind of funny and fitting that it ended that way. But what we realized at the end that we worked on in the beginning was to make us sound all the same. Let's all start trying to write the same way. By the time we were just a short 3 years later, none of us were interested in writing the same way anymore. You know,
right,
we
right.
would write what we were writing, and our expectation, our hope, and I guess ultimately a great disappointment for us that we weren't able to continue at least for one more album where we could have shown that growth spurt into something different than a novelty band. I think the combination of the second record and the horrific tours that the record company put us on just spiked the band, just that was it. Nobody had the heart for it anymore.
But you say novelty band. Do you think like the name kind of made it seem like a novelty band, or
I
the album
think, well,
covers?
the name I thought was very clever, and we were just smart alecky guys, and we thought that was a funny way to do it. I just think as I said, we came from different uh, composing backgrounds,
hmm
but we understood. Everybody wrote pop in some form.
hmm
We understood, though, this is what's happening right now in music. We're all talented enough to write this kind of stuff. So everybody just go in their woodshed and write stuff that sounds like new wave, write stuff that sounds like the Cars, write stuff that sounds like what's on the radio. Because as the Doctors got together, we had no interest in playing clubs. We did not want to be a cover band. We got together primarily to write, record, and get a record contract. And that's what we did. And we did it quickly. Um, the problem was we probably should have had some goals after getting signed.
Yeah.
And we just didn't. We just thought, well, now aren't we just going to be sitting in the lap of luxury and the record company will be our sugar daddy and this is it.
Yeah.
Well, it's amazing the plan worked at that point. Like, did you have management? Or like, how did you get the record deal without?
Um, our tape found its way into the A&R department of, I want to say it was Arista. If it wasn't Arista, then I apologize. It was somebody, and an agent who happened to be there that day named Larry Mazer out of Philadelphia
Hmm.
got a hold of that demo tape that we did. It had 4 songs on it. And then he contacted us, and then he became our manager agent. And he basically was the one who eventually knocked down enough doors that we got signed.
I can tell you if you'd gone with Arista, they were not very good at new wave.
No, no.
So so the
And
band
they
would
didn't
have
need to be
fizzled.
because they had so many big artists on their label at the time.
Yeah, exactly. Now this compilation includes a couple of your earliest recordings from like 77 or so, or beginning in 77, which are very quirky,
Yeah.
very new wave.
Again,
Did you guys streamline that on your own in order to get the deal,
yes.
or did Nimper? Okay, okay.
Yeah. We whittled it down. We knew what people were probably looking for.
hmm
A lot of those earlier things were our experimental versions of we're going to be Devo meets the Cars meets Blondie meets this person, and then we edited it down to what are the most radio friendly things that we've got, and that that coughed up songs like Modern Man and Waiting for a Change and Elizabeth, and things that we felt really good about. Like, okay, we can cut the wheat from the chaff. The chaff is on that record, and the wheat got signed.
The album, it was produced by Alan Winstonley, who
Yeah.
was one half of the Lang and Winstonley, who were producing Madness at the time, bands
Yes.
like that. Then they
Yes.
went on and produced so many great records.
Yeah.
How did you hook up with Alan Winstonley?
Um, Auditioning. I mean, basically, I'm not sure it's always the way it works, but I have a feeling it was the machinery back then. Is you get signed, and then the next thing the record company does is they go shopping. You have to go shopping for a producer, and it's a business. It's
Yeah.
all money. Money has to change hands. It's all money, and you're looking for. So they did give us some leeway. They gave us examples of, here are some people we'd like you to look at, because much like if you're an author, like if you're writing books and you're going to have them illustrated, and I know this firsthand because I wrote a children's Halloween book where I had to go through the same process. And it's they have they're stable, like they have people they're used to working with and they have a rapport with, and they want you to go to them first. And so, like I said, we were naive. We were just like, got a record deal, we're just going to kind of do what they say. But still feeling our oats, and we're in control enough that we want the right producers. So we just listened to works by a lot of different people. And Alan Winstanley's was one of the ones. He had just done I wouldn't call it a demo, a promotional album of a band that I wish I could remember the name of. And we got a copy of that. And it was so awesome. I don't think they ever even got signed. But this
Wow.
was so awesome. And we loved the production on it so much. We said, that's our guy. That's who we want.
Time to take your stand. You've got to be a modern man. Be a jet set in the space cadet. You're the modern man. There's a new wave. Girl is into new wave. Girl is into new wave. Girl is into new wave. Now I'm waiting for the change. Oh, I've been waiting for the change. I've been waiting for the change, waiting so long. 'Cause I'm tired of seeing the mediocre become the mediocre. And I'm tired of being treated like I was blind and deaf and dumb. And I'm tired of hearing what someone's doing when nothing's being done. And I'm tired of being tired, and I'm not the only one. No, no, it's the cool shoes. I'm young and confused, but I won't be this way forever. Soon I'll get myself together. What does it take to be someone who rates in this world? What can you try to catch the public's eye in this world? This world. What can you do to be shining in the I'm so excited, just to physically delighted. I'm not gonna fight it.
Because that album was so eclectic, and because you covered so many styles on that, and to me it sounded like it could have been a compilation of several different bands. For a kid like me, who's a big music freak and a pop freak, it was a glorious audio treat, but it must have been a nightmare for radio programmers.
Yeah. Yeah. Part of it was they didn't quite know what to do with it.
Yeah.
Some of it was obvious, though. The things they chose as singles, I think, were the right play. They chose Modern Man. I think they chose I Want Her. These were just very straight ahead. They
Yeah.
didn't need a lot of explanation. And back then, albums, well, maybe even still today, in complete 180 degrees from what I've just done, they were just a collection of songs. Here's a bunch of needle drop songs. Find your favorite. They weren't, they didn't have to flow in any particular motion or not. They just kind of sound the same. And I think we got our eclecticism. I'm glad I said that without. I was wondering if I'd had one beer, I wouldn't have been able to say that word.
I couldn't do it.
It wouldn't work at all. I think we even though we had honed our sound and honed our style, we still had three distinctly different writers.
Yeah.
And so the album was comprised of chunks. And we had a voting process, it's like well, how come you've got 11 song album, how come you've got 6 and Jeff's got 4 and George, because we voted on them. That's why, because we sat down and said, what do we all feel the strongest about? We played it for our friends and our roommates and stuff and go, what do we get here? So
yeah.
You think it's more eclectic because you didn't like play live before then too? Like,
yes,
because the second album is much more straight ahead, right?
Yeah.
Like,
You just Ronnie, he hit the nail on the head. I mean, one of the funniest stories I ever tell about the Doctors is we were just such studio animals, and we didn't know how to play anything we recorded. We never tried until the day that, and again, I'm going to use Arista because I believe in this instance it was them, called our house. And I was laid up from a car accident there. So I happened to be the lucky guy who answered the phone. And it was an A&R guy, like, I'm from, blah blah records, and I'm looking for 4 out of 5 doctors. And I'm like, yeah. I'm in the band. And he was, hey, we've got your demo tape here, and we kind of like some of the stuff we hear going on and wanted to know if we could come and hear you play. Tick, 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 tick. Yeah, you could do these. You guys play? Oh, yeah, we play all over the DC area. We had never played one live gig. We'd never even set up our equipment to rehearse the songs live. But
wow.
I went ahead and threw down the gauntlet. The guys came home from our various day jobs, and I said, we got to set up the equipment. We got to start learning. We just had an A&R guy call us, and he wants to hear us play live. So that's how that began. But yes, Ronnie, to your point, everything was recorded. So we were able to do everything we wanted to do, and make it sound the way we wanted. If we wanted it quirky, we could do this. We'll add this effect. And we did everything on a 4-track. It was like, the Beatles days, or everything on a 4-track, dumped 1 track, then 4 more tracks, that kind of thing, pinging it down. So yes, I think that had a lot to do with it.
This is like the beginning of your horror movie phase, isn't it? Because didn't you have a couple songs in The Boogeyman?
We had a couple songs that were in the credits of The Boogeyman, because when the film finally hit the screen, they had already chopped the songs.
Oh.
but when the credits rolled, there we are, radioactive bugs from hell, 4 out of 5 doctors, blah, blah, blah. So that was great. And we were thrilled to sit in the theater and wait for the end of the movie just to see our
yeah, exactly.
Got your heart on the
So, and then about this time, the sophomore album comes out,
Yeah.
Second Opinion. What was that? 82, I think. And it was produced by hard rock producer Jeff Glicksman, who's even pictured on the back album cover,
Yes.
along with band members. How did he get involved? I'm assuming the same way, because he produced Kansas, Magnum, Black Sabbath, and even the Paul Stanley solo album, Ronnie.
That's right. That's right. I like you mentioning Magnum, by the way, too.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think I've heard that band name in such a long time.
Yeah, no one has. Yeah.
Good. Let's see. How do I put this? I mean, there should have been no doubt that we got the producer of all those acts since we sounded so much like them. This was probably bad decision 3 by Emperor Records and CBS.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why Glicksman ended up being our producer was bad decisions number 1 and 2 had been made. Bad decision number 1 was to have us be the opening act for UFO at the Ritz in New York City.
I'm all over that bill, by the way. I would be in heaven there. Go ahead.
It went so badly for us, and we were so naive and stupid. Here we are, a quirky little new wave band with our parachute pants and shit coming out to open up UFO, and the entire audience is a sea of boys on Quaalude with leather jackets and no shirts, throwing literally personal belongings at us on stage, like because anything they could find. The sound crew felt so bad for us, they pulled the plug about 20 minutes into our set, literally pulled the plug on us, and the stage went dark. I even have a newspaper article still from New York saying, well, the doctors got their plug pulled on them last night. But we go up to the dressing room, and based on the success of that performance, our record company decides that we've got a tour for you guys. We think this is going to be good for you. We're going to have you go open up for Richie Blackmore's Rainbow and Pat Travis. And so we went like idiots. We said, okay. And it was a West Coast tour. We started in Seattle, Oregon, and we were hit with everything all the way down to the Cow Palace, San Francisco, and then the LA Auditorium. I think we got hit with a bunch of stuff there. And then and then in just the biggest humiliating slap in the face, we found out halfway through the tour from hell that our album that we were out there promoting had not even been released west of the Mississippi yet. So it wasn't even out there.
Wow.
So even if the fans wanted to buy it so they could burn it, they couldn't.
Now, to be fair, all these metal bands were starting to kind of go new wave at this point.
They were.
I think they wanted your cred. I mean, I think that's why you're on the bill.
We ended up the tour. The last 3 days we played, we once we found out the album wasn't even there anymore, we got rid of the uniforms. We wore ripped up jeans and t-shirts. We turned our amps to 11, and we played the loudest music we knew how to play for 20 solid minutes. And we started to go over. And it's like, well, I wish we had recorded this shit because I'd have sold a few records.
Well, okay, so the second album was not as eclectic as the first, but the songs were, in my opinion, just as good, if not better.
I think so. I think the songwriting was strong. It obviously reflected the flavor. I call that our Jekyll and Hyde record. It's schizophrenic. There's side 1, which clearly sounds like what we should have played if we had written it at the time on the Tour from Hell, but we hadn't yet. The second side, on the other hand, sounds like a couple years more mature version of our first album.
Yeah, absolutely.
It starts out with Waiting for Roxanne and goes into Lonely. It was just, it was our sound. They allowed us to be us on side 2, but not on side 1.
You see, like, I think that the Glicksman or that hard rock thing is definitely evident on Good Pretender and was Dawn Patrol.
Yeah, those are 2 cuts in the first side.
Yeah, but then when you get friggin' Breaking Rocks, that's like pure amazing pop rock.
Yeah,
that was one of my that inspired me in high school. I mean, I never came back. I was never a success, but it still inspires me today. There's still a chance. Because some of my classmates are
Take
still
it from
alive.
me. There still is.
Yeah. Now, around this time, you appeared on House on Sorority Row. And
Yeah.
I remember my brother come back. He says, "Hey, that House on Sorority Row has that band that you like." And that's all he said. He has that band that you. So it took me for a while to get out of him that it was, he goes, "It's a weird band name." And then it's, 4 to 5 Doctors. But then I originally, or I saw it later, and it's a different recording of Waiting for Roxanne.
It's our home demo version. We haven't even begun recording the second album yet. And we
Mm.
used our demos in there. We used
Okay.
the real cuts off the first album. Everything off the second album was our basement demos.
Okay.
Wow.
Now, Ronnie, before we continue, I know that you love to ask touring questions. I mean, what was the best tour apart from the Richie Blackmore's Rainbow? No, I mean, you toured with Van Halen, right?
No, I don't even know how that rumor got started. I was in the bathroom at the Forum in LA during one of our shows where we were still opening for Richie Blackmore, who was a fine guy. All the
Yeah,
bands were great. I had nothing against the bands. They were doing what they did well.
yeah.
Yeah.
We just didn't have any business being there. They knew it. They were nice. Everybody felt sorry for us. The crew behind stage changed our name to 4 out of 5 minutes based on how long we'd be able to stay on stage. Great joke. I mean, it's great.
It was a good one.
And we all had fun with it. It was fun. What happened was we were at the Forum and I was in the little gentleman's room. I had to go to the bathroom, and this crowd of people burst in real quick and started, snorting up. And it turned out to be David Lee Roth and a couple of the guys from Van Halen. But we never toured with Van Halen. That was as close as we got to a tour with Van Halen.
Oh
I
my
was
God.
peeing and they were doing coke.
Yeah.
Wow. Did
But-
they invite you to do the Coke as well, or?
No, and I was afraid to open my mouth.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I just, nope.
Were you guys in a bus on this tour, or?
We were in a Winnebago. Yeah, we had
Okay.
the company had given us enough of a budget right before we went on the tour. We were touring in the South in Atlanta with you'll probably remember he was an author and he had the one song "People Who Died."
Jim Carroll.
Yeah, Jim Carroll, and we were touring with him.
Mm.
Which was kind of a weird setup, but it was a little bit more apropos.
Yeah.
We were playing all little indie clubs, and it was a great college kind of audience. And then we had to drive from Atlanta to Seattle, like in 24 hours to start the next. So
Yeah.
we did. We did. We had a couple of tours. We definitely had some gigs that were awesome. Before we even put out our first record, we opened up for the Cars at what was then the Capitol Center in
Oh, yeah.
Lanham, Maryland.
Mm.
US Air Arena it became, and then it was FedEx.
Yes.
But we got to open up for the Cars. That was really fun. We got to open up for the Clash at
Wow.
College Park, Ritchie Coliseum in College Park. We played with Jim Carroll. The best tour we were actually on, we got to do a Northeast College tour opening up for Hall & Oates right as they put out
Wow.
the Visions LP. So
Oh,
it was a great tour.
Yes.
See, I think that right there is probably the best musical pairing
Yeah.
of anything you've mentioned.
Yeah, if they'd done that first, who knows?
no,
Yeah.
but it shows that you guys could open for anybody, though, is what I'm gathering.
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
We had enough stylistic changes,
Yeah.
and wardrobe changes that we could.
yeah,
we
for
pretty much
better
did
or
what we
worse.
wanted.
But yeah, for better or worse, but you could open for anybody.
Yeah. So, that brings us now, obviously, to after all this fun, it just things started breaking down with the band, and you decided, but that's it. You
Yes.
you
Yeah.
went in. What if you would go what if you had gone in and y'all recorded those songs and you gave them to an emperor just to kind of yeah, whatever, and they picked it up and put it out? Would that have changed things?
It's the old ifs and buts, beer and nuts story, you know. I don't change anything. I don't think so, because I think mentally, I think business wise, they had already cut us off before they already knew they were not going to pick us up before they even released album number 2. They
Okay.
were done. They had
Okay.
fulfilled their part of the contract. We had fulfilled ours. There just wasn't, something would have had to have broken for us really significantly on the first record to go any further than 2, because that's just the budget of the record industry back then.
Yeah.
You know, they threw everything they had against the wall. Whoever stuck, they went with. Whoever didn't, they cut the money from. And so that was kind of, they knew we were done for. And then our agent, our manager, Larry Mazer, kind of did the same thing to us. He just farmed us out to a local tri-state Washington, D.C. management company to stick us in like clubs again. You know, it's like,
Yeah. I've always thought it was weird.
bad things.
What was that?
No.
I said that led to bad things.
Yeah. I always thought it was weird that back then, all these great bands, and I'm not putting them on the same level as 4 to 5 Doctors, because I still think to this day, 4 to 5 Doctors they were just, or you guys were just exceptional. You guys were like, you know, above everyone else. But there's so many great bands like Hawks, and, you know, let's say, you know, I'm not a huge fan, but Tom Dickey and the Desires,
Right.
and the Electrics, you know, these great bands that I loved and listened to. And it seemed like they all had 2 album deals.
That's what they were doing back then.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was all like 79 to 81, like that
Yeah.
era. Yeah.
Standard fare during that 3-year period, right, was 2 album deals were what they were doing. Didn't cost them a lot of money. Indie bands, you know, the bands of that at that time, and everybody wanting to be on an independent label, to the degree that major labels like CBS created their own Nemperor, which
Yeah.
was a jazz label they just had in the closet, like Stanley Clark was on it. And they said, well, let's make this our indie label, and then nobody will think the big corporate names involved.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was the deal. Everybody was getting 2 record deals, and your first record either bought you enough goodwill to get a third out of it, or you were done.
Yeah. Yeah. And then again, the Doctors did a reunion in 2007, right? Was that? And that you can find, I think you were able to find the whole show on YouTube before, and I think now it's only bits and pieces, or can you still find the whole show?
I think somebody had it strung all together, like where you could watch the entire video, because we did video the whole thing. And I'm glad we did, because we never sounded better.
Yeah,
I mean,
no, I think
Yeah.
it sounds great.
Probably our best live performance that we ever did. And I'm glad and that's kind of how I wanted to wrap things up too. I really was against it when Jeff proposed it. Like, we want to do a Doctor's reunion. Man, I'm over it. You know, I'm way past it. I was a family man living in the suburbs and really wasn't doing a whole lot of music,
Mm-hmm.
except for my own writing,
Yeah.
which I just never stopped. But then I thought, you know what? It ended very badly. These guys are, you know, they're my friends, and we really need to end on an uptick. So I thought, okay, let's do this. And we were all worried, and we didn't know. And I was kind of a tyrant about the whole thing. I demanded that rehearsals were completely serious business, that we go over everything. We do it like the record. Everybody stays healthy and gets their chops together.
Mm-hmm.
And we did. And we sounded fantastic, and we sold the place out, which we just couldn't believe. It was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So much so that we did it the next year too, and sold out 2 nights. And that was it. That was good. But yeah,
Yeah.
you should be able to find the entire show. And if you can't find it, I know a guy who
Now-
has
Yeah.
the whole thing on
Yeah.
Now, what about this? This is
Quit
For-
teasing me with that, Steve. I can't find that or the other
Out of
one. I've been
print.
looking for years.
out of print.
Go ahead. Yeah,
Yeah.
go ahead.
well, of course, it's a CDR for anybody's looking, but it was a
Yeah.
limited edition, and they're digitally remastered. And I'm such a nerd
Right.
that I flipped my wig when you heard the countdown to Waiting for Roxanne. It's like,
Right.
that's not on the record. That's not on the record.
Right. It's little things. It has more bottom end.
Yeah.
Which I was never really pleased, being the bass player on the first record, that it was so tinny, I want to call it. But
Mhm.
that's, I mean, that's what everybody was kind of doing. We added a lot of low frequency to this one to get it to balance all the sparkle up on top.
Yeah. Is there any chance I mean, did you try to get a deal with some kind of label to
No,
reissue it?
we just printed those. I believe we had those printed at Furnace in Alexandria, which is the recording pressing house that's now owned by Metallica. I think they
Oh,
like 10 years ago, and
yeah.
we did it there just on our dime. We just paid for it, said let's kind of redo this, put out the two records again, do our reunion, and ride off into the sunset.
Anyone who watches, anyone who listens, anyone who's ever been in love, anyone whose heart beats, anyone with feelings, anyone would know who I dream of. Anyone could look into my eyes and tell it's true. Anyone but you. She's everything, she's everything, she's everything to me. She's everything, yeah, she's everything, she's everything to me. And anyone can see there's nothing else I need. She's everything. She's morning and afternoon, evening and on into night. She's touch and she's taste and she's smell and she's sound and she's sight. Oh, alright.
And of course, there's a whole new generation of power pop fans that know you for your association with,
Yeah, crazy,
um,
right?
yeah,
Yeah,
with Airport 77s.
fine
Um,
guy.
and one of the questions I was going to ask you is, are you still with them? But then I did a little research before the interview, and it looks like you're no longer playing with them, correct?
Oh, no, when I got together with them, I'll thumbnail the story as quickly as I can. I currently wasn't in a band. I still was performing. I was doing a lot of shows for production companies, and I have a little Beatles group I throw together and play during the summers with. And I was in a Beach Boys band for 19 years
Wow.
as well. So I was still actively playing, and but I wasn't doing anything. I had no original band, and I always get the itch to play original music. Covers are great, but I just feel more fulfilled if I'm playing original stuff.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we had this band, the Airport 77s, which were all local DC area guys, were a good group, and they had some popularity in the area, and they were real quirky, and they released a bunch of videos, and my wife kind of stumbled onto them and said, these guys are you should see these guys. They're like right up your alley. And then it turns out their bass player was quitting the band, and they were friends with my brother-in-law, who said to me, "Would you be interested in playing with this band?" And I said, "Yes, I would. Tell them that I would be." Now the problem was, right as those words left my mouth, I realized that in 3 weeks I'm moving to West Virginia, 3.5 hours away, to live.
Oh,
And they work, rehearse, and play in DC.
Hmm.
But I still thought it was worth the commitment, and I'm that guy. I literally drove 3 hours and 15 minutes for a 90-minute rehearsal and drove back if I had to.
yeah.
Sometimes I was able to stay with my brother, who still lived in the area. As I said, my wife and I had this place that was 3 hours in the other direction, so I could go. Well, I could always just go to the beach from their house. And
Hmm.
Yeah.
Kelly, the drummer in the band, sweetheart of a guy and very talented, and so is Andy Sullivan. The three of us together, I really loved. I had so much fun. It really reminded me a lot of the Doctor's feeling that I got, and the organic nature of putting songs together. And Andy was an amazingly prolific writer. Just I never seen a guy churn out songs like that kid. Man, he was crazy.
Yeah. The
Uh,
chemistry with the band is
yeah,
very
it
strong on
worked.
the album.
It worked.
Yeah.
And so I wrote a couple of songs that fit them.
Hmm.
One I had actually done before, but wasn't totally satisfied with it. And I thought these guys will be better at doing this song. And then one I wrote strictly because I was writing, and hey, I got this song, and it's not gonna make what I'm working on, but I think we can do something with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Now, of course, this album comes out. This is the album that everybody's talking about now. The reaction to the CD digital release has just been phenomenal, and now you're putting out a vinyl
Yes.
pressing. Now, is that going to be a double?
Yeah, it has to be
Yeah.
because it's 59 minutes long. I mean,
Okay.
max on a record. And when I was talking to my guy, Matt Leffler Schulman was the guy who mastered the record. Again, I've just run into the most, I'm the luckiest guy on the planet, or thank you, God. Just the people I've met that have helped put this thing together with me. Matt says to me, it's going to have to be a double album. Uh, and to get the best fidelity, you want the widest grooves, which means you want the shortest amount of minutes per side. So he goes, I'd like that to be in the 15 to 16-minute max per side range. He worked very diligently. And it's when you're dealing with a concept album, which relies on stringing everything together, now you have to couch it in record flip. But then, our immediate thought was you had to flip Pet Sounds, you had to flip Sergeant Pepper's, you had to flip Revolver, you had to flip all of them. There, that's part of the fun. That's part of the adventure. Like, where does it go on the other side? And so we cut it for double because it was physically impossible to do single.
Yeah.
But when we decided to do it, we made sure. Matt said, "Well, let's make sure we cut it so when they make this into vinyl, it sounds, it might as well be CD quality or digital quality." Such as you can get from a needle. And I didn't know, I mean, the original conception for it was to come out as a double album. I was going to come right out of the gate. And then my eyes kind of bugged out of my head when I saw how much that cost.
Yeah.
Especially for a double album, because then their minimums go up if they have to run twice as many.
Oh, right.
But so once it came out on CD, I was shocked by two things: the response, and shocked to learn that not many people own a CD player anymore. So I had advanced it to people who go, God, if I had a CD player, I said, what, that's already gone? See, I'm driving in a 2008 Dodge Caravan, which still has a CD player in it. So I kind of thought my paradigm is this world still exists technologically. Apparently not.
It does to me and Steve. Don't worry about that.
I mean, look at this, Cal.
Now it's just they just stream it, they download, or it's on it's on Spotify, and I was worried about that at first because again I didn't want people stepping on the order of the songs. It's going to be on Spotify. By God, it's going. I'm locking it in. It's also why I don't allow it to be played as singles or purchased as singles, at least not because it's not the experience I want the listener to have. That's my one artistic self-indulgence. But I do think, and from what I've gotten from people, is it is a better experience if you at least once or twice go from the beginning to the end without a break. Just go through it. It'll speak to you in a way that just needle dropping won't.
This is a journey.
Yeah. No, and forget the fidelity aspect. Aesthetically, it belongs as a double record.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think that it's going to renew that interest again. So the interest that you received when the CD and the digital dropped, oh my God, I just said dropped. Oh my God, that's industry talk. When they were released, I think that now that it's going to be hitting vinyl, it's going to be a whole new audience who snub their nose at CDs.
Well, I hope so. I've already got it in the works. It's supposed to be out sometime between the 29th of July and August 12th. And I'm really hoping that it is out before the 12th, because I don't know if I told you directly or it trickled through. I'm actually playing David Bash's International Pop
IPO.
I'm playing a set at the LA Festival on August the 12th at one of them.
That'll be the first IPO that I attended in a long time.
35 minutes. 35 minutes of listening pop, and then I'm done.
But here's the last question. If you were going to make a mixtape with songs from your new solo album and then add tracks from other artists that you feel belong, that your songs rub shoulders with, what artists or what songs would you include on that mixtape?
If I was going to mixtape these, it would definitely have Emmett Rhodes at least 3 songs off the Emmett Road self-titled album, but probably if I had to choose one, it would be Somebody Made for Me, which is a song I covered right after he got killed. I did a video of it and I played all the instruments. I mean, he was my guy. I would put Paul McCartney's Every Night
Oh,
on
yeah.
uh, definitely, because I loved that album, but there were certain songs on it that were just kind of junk to me. It's like, pardon the obvious pun, they're junk.
From the
Um,
same album too.
yes, from the same album. I love junk. I loved Every Night, and also from Ram, I would include Paul McCartney's In My Car.
Backseat of my car.
Backseat of my car, because of the production, the explosive production, which always kind of inspired me, even back then when it came out, when I was still messing around with sound on sound tapes. Like, how do I get things that big? Get rich enough to hire an orchestra was the answer I never heard. Billy
Anything
Joel,
else?
Vienna.
Oh yeah.
On there. I love Vienna Waits for You, I think it's called. And also
Oh, yeah.
Working Out and Allentown. Those are like my 2 favorite Billy Joel songs. Beyond that, I would include almost anything from Fountains of Wayne, Utopia Parkway. You're familiar with it, but that was a very inspiring 90s record. Doing that, and I was in a 90s sounding band. I thought, I like what these guys are doing. It sounds like what I would have done if I was 20 years younger.
Yeah, they were power pop heavyweights.
Yeah, really good, really good. Sorry to hear what happened.
Adam. Yeah.
So probably that, and if I reflect on it long enough, I'll come up with 4 dozen other things. But the way I listen to music, starting from a very young age, through my sister and everything else, was singles. I listened to singles. I think we of a generation, we all did. Everything came out on a 45. I didn't really follow bands. I followed songs. If it was a good song, I don't care who did it. I like the song.
Yeah.
I love Hold Me Up Buttercup by the Foundations. You know what I mean? I love that. I love Give Me Just a Little Bit More Time by that the R&B band that I had their singer just
Give me just a little chairman of the board.
Yes.
Chairman of the board with General Johnson on
Jeremy,
vocals.
yes, yeah. Awesome. Good
Yeah.
pull, Steve. I should have known. But so that's kind of the way I listened. I would just, AC/DC, love them. I love Bad Company. I love the song. All Right Now is my favorite song of all time by Free. That's
Wow.
like, ask me, what are your 2 favorite songs? All Right Now, number 1. Maybe I'm Amazed, number 2.
Wow.
You know?
Okay, but are you referring to the studio version on McCartney or the live version on Wings Over America?
Studio.
Okay, me too.
Studio. Yeah.
Live.
I just like the innocence and the rawness of the studio version, as opposed to the live. I have to do. It's a show now. You know what I mean? I never liked the live ending. It was.
Yeah.
It's a great song. Don't
He's
get
an
me wrong.
entertainer.
No matter how he does it, but
Yeah, he's an entertainer instead of a singer-songwriter.
yes.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
There was an innocence to his first 2 records.
Yeah,
That
absolutely.
got lost as he became more involved in Wings because he wanted to be an entertainer again, and I don't fault him at all for that. I love it. I'd
Yeah.
much rather play live, than not.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's it for our interview with the iconic Cal Everett. He has a brand new album called The Weight of Early Promise. We appreciate you taking the time to watch this interview. Thank you, Cal, and thank you, everybody, for watching this. And we'll see you next time on Beach Blanket Fort Bingo.